Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulihil kareem. We begin with Allah's blessed name. We praise Him and we glorify Him as He ought to be praised and glorified. And we pray for peace and for blessings on all His noble messengers, including the last of them all, the blessed Prophet Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. As we greet you from the city of London in Britain with Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It is the sunnah of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam to make this dua. Allahumma barik lana fi Rajabin wa Shaban wa balighna Ramadan. We have tomorrow, which is the 29th day of Ramadan, for you in Britain, not for others. For you in Britain, tomorrow is the 29th day, and so tomorrow we're going to look for the moon. And if the moon is seen anywhere in Britain, then the month of Ramadan would commence, and the first fast will be on Thursday, okay, Yawmul Khamis. And if the moon is not seen, well then the month will continue for one more day. And our topic today is the Quran and the month of Ramadan. And since we have a small gathering, I'm very happy, because I can take my time now, and I can interrupt and I can ask questions, which I can't do in a big gathering. So it's advantageous for me to have a small gathering. And we begin our topic with Surah Al-Baqarah. And then we'll go to Surah Al-Taha, and Surah Al-Qiyamah, and Surah Al-Isra, and so on. So remember, don't forget. We begin with A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajeem, and Allah speaks in Surah Al-Baqarah, and this is what He says. Shahr Ramadan, the month of Ramadan, Alladhi unzila fihi al-Quran, is the month in which the Quran came down. What does it mean? Can someone help me? What does it mean? Did you put on your thinking cap? Huh? Go ahead.
When the revelation was finished.
I didn't hear you.
When the revelation was finished.
What did he say?
When the revelation was finished.
The revelation of the Quran was finished. Okay, what do you say?
Is the month in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring down His book.
He brought down the Quran in the month of Ramadan.
Yes. But the month already existed in Allah's book.
Yes, the book was, the month was already there, but in this month He brought down the Quran. What He says, He brought it down in one night.
No.
Inna anzalnahu fi laylatil qadr. Surely we sent it down in one night, not 1 month. Not 1 month, one night. So you want to revise? What do you say now? All right, let me hear, sister. They're quiet on this side. Anybody? Okay. The Quran came down not in one way, but in two ways. The first way is the Prophet ﷺ was in the cave on the mountain. And the angel came and something called wahi. Wahi. Wahi is not something that comes to the air. No. Wahi comes to the heart. Not the air, the heart. And wahi came down, and this is the first wahi in the Quran. And it was recite, ikra, recite. Ikra means to recite. You read with your eyes, but you don't recite with your eyes. Not even in London. You recite with your tongue. Ikra means to recite. Okay. And then we know that it continued for 23 years. This was wahi. This was not 1 month at all. Not 1 month at all. This was 23 years. From that first revelation in the mountain and the cave until the last revelation came about riba. That Allah will wage war on the money lender. So now we got to go back, because this is 23 years, and Allah is saying in this verse of Surah Al-Baqarah that we sent it down in the month of Ramadan. And we know that Wahi came down over 23 years. And we know that the whole Quran also came down on one night. So we've got to solve this problem about 1 month. What's the other way that the Quran came down? The first way was Wahi. And the English translation for Wahi, they use the term revelation. Revelation comes to the heart. Did the Quran come down any other way? Where's Somalia? Somalia is always very bright. Let me hear Somalia.
Sudan.
Sudan.
Huh?
Sudan.
Sudan.
Oh, you're Sudan. You get away. All right, Sudan. Sudan also produced great scholars. My dear brother and elder brother, Dr. Malik Badri, who died 2 years ago, is Sudanese. Yes. Tell me, did the Quran come down any other way? Yeah?
It came separate. It came separate.
The Quran came down over 23 years as Wahi. That is established. Everybody knows that. But Allah is saying the Quran came down in the month of Ramadan. And He also says the Quran came down in one night. The night of Qadr. So we're trying to understand شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن. That Ramadan is the month in which the Quran was sent down. We want to try to understand that, yes?
So Jibreel alayhi salam would come on the month of Ramadan, which is once every year, and he will cut and finish the Quran.
Correct.
And the year before he passed away.
See, Somalia.
Twice.
Somalia.
He would
Somalia.
complete the Quran twice before.
Every night of Ramadan. The month of Ramadan, every night. Allah Ta'ala used to recite the Quran, but He did it through the medium of Jibreel alayhi salam. and he would complete the recitation of the whole Quran in Ramadan. This is the best explanation to fit the ayah that Allah sent down the Quran in the month of Ramadan. Okay? Or what about he sent it down on Laylatul Qadr? Inna anzalnahu fi Laylatil Qadr. The answer given in the hadith is that the whole Quran was in Law al-Mahfuz, the preserved tablet in heaven. And on this night, Allah sent it down to the Sama ad-Dunya, the lowest Sama. And it remained. And from the lowest Sama, Jibreel alayhi salam was instructed to bring it down piecemeal over a period of 23 years. This is the meaning of Allah sent it down in the night of Qadr, Laylatul Qadr. But then something strange was happening. And Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam is getting a surprise, the first Ramadan. Because so far he's received a few revelations and he's memorized them. The revelations began in the month of Rabiul Awwal, and now this is Ramadan. And he's hearing verses of the Quran. This is not wahi. This is not wahi to the heart. This is recitation. Allah is reciting. And He says in the Quran, "Sanukri'uka," I am going to teach you to recite. I'm going to make you recite. "Sanukri'uka." For that answer, when I teach you to recite this Quran, you will not forget. Oh, but the verse goes on to say something more. Illa ma sha Allah. You will not forget what I teach you of reciting this Quran, except that which I ordain that you forget. And so now, we go to Surah Taha. And this is not an easy verse. وَلَا تَعَجَّلْ بِالْقُرْآنِ. Allah is addressing Nabi Muhammad alayhi salam. Don't hasten with this Quran. What does it mean? لا تعجل بالقرآن. Do not hasten, O Muhammad alayhi salam, with this Quran. من قبل أن يقضى إليك وحيه. Don't hasten with this Quran until, wait until the wahi, the revelation is completed. It's going to take 23 years. وَقُلْ رَبِّ زِدْنِي عِلْمًا. And O Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, you must make this dua. Allah is speaking to him. رَبِّ زِدْنِي عِلْمًا. Oh Allah, kindly give me more knowledge, meaning of this subject in particular. رَبِّ زِدْنِي عِلْمًا doesn't mean only give me knowledge generally, but it means in particular on this topic. Listen to it again. Which surah is this? You forgot. Which surah is it? Surah Taha. وَلَا تَعْجَلْ بِالْقُرْآنِ. Do not hasten, O Muhammad, alayhi salatu wasalam, with this Quran. Don't do it. مِن قَبْلِ أَن يُقْضَى إِلَيْكَ وَحْيُهُ. Wait until the revelation, the wahi, is completed. And make this dua, O Muhammad, alayhi salatu wasalam, Rabbi zidni ilma. O Allah, increase my knowledge, particularly about this subject. So why was he hastening with the Quran? What does that mean? Who will help me? Why was he in haste with the Quran? Why? And Allah told him, stop. Don't do that. Answer? Who will help me? I have a very quiet audience here in London tonight. Nobody to help me? Yes.
Did he want to finish it in less than 1 month?
You have to speak a little louder.
Did he want to finish the Quran in less than 1 month?
Okay. No. What the Prophet ﷺ was doing is that when the wahi comes to his heart, he memorizes instantly. So he has memorized all of the Quran which has so far been sent down as wahi, meaning revelation. Wahi meaning revelation. And now he's hearing parts of the Quran he didn't know of before. And naturally, he wants to memorize it. He wants to memorize it. So Allah is reciting, but Allah is reciting through the medium of Jibreel. We'll come to that in Surah Al-Qiyamah. Allah is reciting it every night of Ramadan, as she mentioned. And he is hearing portions of the Quran he never heard before. Never came as right. And he's hearing it for the first time. And that is why he's hastening his tongue to try to memorize it. And then Allah prohibits him. Don't do that. Don't seek to memorize what is being recited to you now, because this is coming to his ears. Wahi comes to the heart. But what is happening in every night of Ramadan is that the Quran has been being recited, and he's getting it in his ears. When this video goes on the YouTube, there'll be so many who will be listening and we never heard of this before. We never knew about this before. First time we're hearing it. And when a portion of the Quran is now recited, and he has never heard of it before, and he's hearing it for the first time, not only does Allah prohibit him, stop, don't seek to memorize it, but more than that, when I teach you this Quran to recite it, you will not forget what I teach you, except that which I ordain that you forget. Come on, somebody help me. What is that portion? This is a very easy question now. Only this is answering all the questions. What happened to the brothers? When I teach you this recitation of the Quran, O Muhammad, you will not forget, except that which I ordain that you forget. Help me, what does it mean? It's simple. All that you have to do is think, that's all. Think. Yes? Yes? Nobody? Yeah?
Is that like, the Quran won't be like changed or corrupted until Allah, and you'll probably protect and keep as it is.
Yeah?
ترجمة سورة العمران إن الدين عند الله الإسلام.
What is she saying?
In Surah Al-Imran, إن الدين لله.
What is the explanation?
عند الله الإسلام إن عمران
عند الله إن الدين عند الله الإسلام. Yes, that is a verse of the Quran. What is happening is that Allah is reciting the whole Quran every night of Ramadan, one juz at a time. So that by the end of Ramadan, Allah would have recited the whole Quran. But the whole Quran has not as yet come down to his heart as wahi. So what the verse? سَنُقْرِئُكَ فَلَا تَنْسَى. I'm going to teach you to recite this Quran, and when I do so, you will not forget what I teach you, إِلَّا مَا شَاءَ اللَّهُ, except that which I ordain that you must forget, O Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. Meaning, it is so simple. Meaning, all the Quran which has not as yet come down to you as wahi, and you're now hearing it every night of Ramadan. New, you never heard it before. From the time I have finished reciting it to you, I will get you to forget it. Okay? سَنُقْرِئُكَ فَلَا تَنْسَى إِلَّا مَا شَاءَ اللَّهُ. This is the meaning. That Allah will teach Nabi Muhammad ﷺ to recite the Quran every night of Ramadan, every Ramadan, one juz at a time. And he will be hearing verses of the Quran he never received so far as wahi. He didn't know them. And as soon as he hears these verses of the Quran being recited to him, recitation come to the ears, Allah will then cause him to forget it. When will this happen? I don't know. Whether it happens the same night or it happens later, we don't have that knowledge. When will he it will be erased from his memory. What surah is this? Do not hasten your tongue. وَلَا تَعْجَلْ بِالْقُرْآنِ. Do not hasten your tongue with this Quran. مِنْ قَبْلِ أَنْ يُقْضَى إِلَيْكَ وَحْيُهُ. Wait until the wahi is completed, which will take 23 years. And make this dua, Rabbi zidni ilma. Allah is telling him, Nabi Muhammad, you make this dua, so we must also make the dua. And make the dua, Rabbi zidni ilma. O Allah, kindly increase my knowledge. Meaning, most of all, increase my knowledge of this subject that we are now teaching you here today. This is what surah? Huh? Surah Taha, correct. Now we leave Surah Taha and we go to Surah Qiyamah. And we find the same thing being repeated. Over there is وَلَا تَعْجَلْ, do not hasten. La ta'jal bil Quran, don't hasten with the recitation of the Quran. But here in Surah Al-Qiyamah, وَلَا تُحَرِّكْ بِهِ لِسَانَكَ لِتَعْجَلَ بِهِ. Do not hasten the movement of your tongue. Meaning, he's listening to the verses of the Quran being recited and he's hearing it, and it is new, he never knew it before, and his tongue is moving to try to memorize. لا تحرك به لسانك لتعجل به. Same command as in Surah Taha, same command here in Surah Al-Qiyamah. But then Allah goes on to say, Inna alayna jama'ahu wa Qur'ana. It is our responsibility to take all the parts of the Quran, that which has come to you as well as that which has not as yet come to you, and make of it a complete whole. And then it is our responsibility to recite it to you, O Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. Inna alayna jama'ahu. We are the ones who are going to make it into a complete whole. Wa Qur'ana, and we are the ones, meaning I am the one, I will recite it to you. Qur'ana. And this is happening in Ramadan. فَإِذَا قَرَأْنَاهُ, and when I have recited this Quran to you, فَاتَّبِعْ قُرْآنَ, you must follow that way of recitation. Command. Allah is commanding the Prophet. And when I have recited in the Quran, it is we, but I'm using I for better understanding. فَإِذَا قَرَأْنَاهُ فَاتَّبِعْ قُرْآنَ. When I have recited this Quran to you, O Muhammad, sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, you must follow that way of recitation. So, it is necessary for us to seek to understand what is that way of recitation. Because he is commanding the Prophet to follow my way of recitation. We have to find out what is that way of recitation. Do you agree with me? Does anyone differ? I have a very quiet audience here tonight in London. Okay. لا تحرك به لسانك لتعجل به. Don't move your tongue to hasten the recitation, meaning to memorize it. Inna alayna jama'ahu, we are the ones who are going to bring all the parts together, that which you've already memorized and that which you're now hearing, into a one complete whole. Wa Quran, and we are the ones who are going to recite this Quran to you. فَإِذَا قَرَأْنَاهُ فَاتَّبِعْ قُرْآنَ, and when we have recited this Quran to you, O Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, you must follow that way of recitation. Which surah is this?
Al-Qiyamah.
Surah Al-Qiyamah, very good. Now listen. ثُمَّ إِنَّ عَلَيْنَا بَيَانًا. After we have taught you how to recite this Quran, only then will we teach you the explanation of the Quran. Let me repeat that. After we have taught you how to recite this Quran, only then will we teach you the explanation of the Quran. And so we have a powerful message which has been sent here. And that is that Allah in His wisdom wants us to first recite the Quran before we study the Quran. Which means, and you might agree with me, that it is Allah who teaches. The knowledge comes from Him. It doesn't come from Washington. Ar-Rahman allama al-Quran. Allah teaches the Quran. Okay? Allah teaches the Quran. So if Allah is the one who is teaching the Quran, and it comes to us, inspiration, ideas and so on, if we do not recite the Quran the way Allah recited it, we can't study the Quran. If you do not recite the Quran the way Allah recited it, you cannot really study the Quran. Does anyone want to differ with me? I'm giving you enough time if you want. Now then.
إلهي لست للفردوس أعلى ولا أقوى على نار الجحيم الله فهب لي التوبة واغفر ذنوبي فإنك غافر الذنب العظيم إلهي لست للفردوس أعلى ولا أقوى على نار الجحيم الله فهب لي